Awesome. So thank you all so much for joining us for Leadership Cafe, where we aim to empower leaders everywhere with short, focused bursts of leadership tips for immediate application. My name is Haley. I'm your host for today, and I'm excited to bring to you a special conversation. So, if you all have been following Leadership Cafe, you may have known that over the past year or so, we've had several conversations that explore what it takes to communicate with impact, from storytelling to executive presence. But there's one conversation that we haven't had yet. What happens before you speak? This internal experience, the racing thoughts, the self doubt. With 70% of jobs requiring presentation skills and abilities, confident speaking isn't optional, it's foundational to your leadership and career growth. Today, we're going inward because the most powerful shift in your speaking doesn't start with technique, it starts with what's happening between your ears. That's why we're thrilled to have our very own Erin Gao, a cognitive science and senior learning PM with Engine Learning and Talent Development, to give a speech on the inner game of confidence, 6 pearls to conquer speaking anxiety. We'll have Erin come and share some insights in her recommended techniques, and then we'll wrap up with a quick Q&A at the end of the session, so make sure to drop your questions in the chat throughout. Now, without further ado, let's welcome Erin to the stage for Leadership Cafe. Erin, feel free to take it over.
Amazing. Thanks, Haley. Let me set up my sharing screen over here. All right. So before I start, I want to make a confession. Every time I have something important to say in front of people, it feels like my body completely betrays me. My heart races, my breathing gets shallow, and my hands no longer feel like my own, and my throat tightens before the words can escape. And now I want you to be honest with me. Raise your hand if you know exactly what I'm talking about. Anyone? I'm seeing a few hand raises. Thank you so much. And fortunately, I'm not alone here. And in fact, we are the majority. And research shows that when Americans were asked what they fear in life, 40.6% pointed to the stage, while only 18.7% pointed to the grave. As a comedian Jerry Seinfeld once joked, if you are at a funeral, you'd literally rather be in that casket than giving the eulogy. But today, I want to show you that the monster of public speaking is largely a hallucination. To become a more confident speaker, you do not need to become a different person. You only need new perspectives and new behaviors. And today, I'm going to share with you 6 pearls that can permanently change your perspective and your behavior with speaking anxiety. So let's go through it together. Pearl number 1, fear is not the enemy. It is your fuel. So when we stand in front of a large scale of audiences, our brain automatically activates the same ancient flight or fight responses that kept our ancestors alive in the savannah. The adrenaline floods into our bloodstream, our heart rate spikes, our muscles tense, our mouths goes dry, and we interpret these signals as evidence that something is terribly wrong with us and that we are about to fail. But let me tell you this is not true. And the truth is the physical sensation we associate with fear are neurologically identical with excitement. It is a surge of adrenaline. Same racing heart, same heightened alertness, and same surge of energy. It is preparing you for the moment that matters. So, the real difference is not about the sensation itself. It is a story you tell yourself about it. For example, if you think, oh my God, I'm losing control, you shrink, period. But if you think, wow, I'm energized and ready, you rise. So the next time if you feel the surge of adrenaline before speaking up, promise me that don't fight against it. Embrace it, welcome it, and tell yourself that this is my body giving me the energy I need to be extraordinary today. Same body, same adrenaline, and different meaning. So fear is not your enemy. It is your fuel. My second pearl for you is prepare until it's instinct. This is not about sounding perfect. It is about freeing your mind and your cognitive load so that you can focus on something that is even more important. Let me explain it further. When we are unprepared, what do we usually focus on? Anyone? We usually focus on what do I say next? But what if you are fully prepared? You can be fully present and focused on how do I connect with the audiences. So I love you to think about driving from your home to the office. At the very first, you think about every turn. Yes, that is me. And eventually, the route becomes a second nature, and you can focus on the scenery and the people around you. And speaking works exactly the same way. And there are two main preparation passes for you. The first one, this is a scripted pass. This means you write out your talk, refine it, practice it until it becomes part of you. Elizabeth Gilbert's, the lady on the left side of the screen, whose TED Talk has been viewed tens of millions of times, memorized her talk like poems. Why? As she recalls, during her first TED Talk, her conscious mind didn't work for the first 5 minutes, but her deep brain memory carried her through word by word until she found her own flow. But here is a critical warning for you. If you haven't fully memorized it, you may sound robotic. And our goal here is to get to the point where the word becomes a second nature and your full attention is freed for connection. You can do a readiness test by giving the talk by doing any activities that takes you brain power, like cooking seafood stews for your children, or like Haiti has a dog, grooming your cat or dog if you have one. Or you can just not simply, assembling IKEA furnitures. And my philosophy here is if you can give the talk while doing other activities that take your brain power, you can absolutely do it when you're fully focused on it on the stage. So that is your readiness test. But be honest, not every speaking occasion justifies this type of time commitment. And here I have the second pass for you, the structured pass, which means you don't memorize your words, but you memorize the journey, which including your opening, key points, stories, transitions, and closing line. This pass is great when you know your talk so well that you can even give a talk during your sleep. But it is important to distinguish unscripted talk from unprepared. And the bottom line is to treat your structure as your map. Once you know the journey, practice telling it out loud for at least 10 times until it feels natural and you feel confident. So let me move my slides. I'm losing a little bit control of my mouse here, but here during this simultaneously, I want to ask you a question. I'm curious, which path do you usually take? Path 1 or path 2? There is no right or wrong answer. Just tell me what is your go-to mode. Yeah, I'm seeing path 2, path 2. Yes, I'm seeing a few path 1 as well. Awesome, awesome. Yeah, the truth is, as you start to rehearse, the difference start to fade. And this beginning point may be different, but the destination is the same. a talk that is thoroughly prepared and passionately delivered. And the key is to find the mode you feel comfortable about and really commit to it. Early and often. Let me repeat it one more time. Early and often. And I'll let this picture to explain the why. So if you want to bake the turkey fast 1 hour at 900 degrees, what happens? Yeah, it burns. And what if you bake it slow? 3 hours at 300 degrees. Nicely cooked. Yes, exactly. You get that golden brown turkey, crispy outside, juicy inside, and fully cooked. Yummy. So I'll ask you to do not cook your talk in the last hour at 900 degrees. Give it time and let your idea fully settle in your brain. And at this point, you may wonder, why speak in front of people at all? Why don't you just send them the contest, send them an email, and let them to read it? Let me tell you, it's because speaking as something that a test alone cannot fully carry, the human layer. That is why we need to give our voice the life they deserve. Here on the top right of the screen, you're seeing two numbers, 7% and 38%. So I'd love to invite everyone to take a quick guess. What do you think these numbers mean? There's no right or wrong answer. Just let me know what you think. Both me and Haley will be looking at it. Take a pause and take a guess. What audience response will contribute most to the comprehension? Which people remember the most? Yes. And you get it. Projection of voices. Yes, most of you get it correctly. And this research by Albert Murabin reminds us that when communicated feelings, only 7% of the communication is done to the language, while 38% depend on the voice. That is why we need to give your voice the life it deserves. And here are 5 tools that you can leverage. Let's look at it one by one. The first, volume. I can raise my volume to create emphasis. Sorry if I startled anybody. Or I can lower my voice and talk to you very quietly. Coming next, pitch. Now, if I raise my pitch, I didn't expect that. Tell me, how did that sound to you? Maybe surprised? Maybe curious? Or maybe even excited? But making a point, yes, that's right. But what if I lower my pitch? I didn't expect that. Tell me, how does it sound to you? Disappointed. Yes, you get it. Yes, you see the difference. The pitch, same word, different pitch, and totally different emotion. And coming next, it is our pace. So regarding this pace, now I can get very, very excited by saying something really quickly. Or I can slow right down to emphasis. I can even add a silence at the end. There is nothing wrong with adding a moment of silence. We don't need to finish every sentence with and diminish your confidence, right? And the next one is the tone. I can raise my tone by saying, "Oh, that's interesting." How does it sound? Surprised? Yep. Excited? Yes. and even a little bit interesting and inviting. But what if I totally change my tone? That is interesting. How did that sound? Unsure, concerned, skeptical, doubtful. Yes, yes, love it. Yes, you get it. So the same words, different tone, completely different message. And now, the last one, proximity. It is the rhythm and melody of your language, and it is what makes your speech sound less like a flat line and more like a song. And honestly, there is no better way to put people to sleep than speaking a one tone and one note the entire time. Did you fall asleep? So use proximity, vary your rhythm, and let your voice rise and fall. To simplify all these 5 tools we just talked about, for me, the key takeaway is simply inject variety into your voice. For more, you can search on how to speak so that people want to listen on TED Talk. Definitely worth 10 minutes of listening. And for now, let's move from voice to body, because confidence is not only something we say, it is also something we carry. So here is our pro number 4. Your body can rewire your brain. Sometimes we treat our body as if they are just transportation devices, something that carries our height from meeting to meeting and onto the stage. And sometimes speakers give that same impression. Once their body gets them onto the stage, and then suddenly they don't know what to do with it. Stand stiffly, hold on to the slides, cross your arms, or shift nervously from one leg to the other. And now, I don't want to prescribe one perfect way to use your body language, but there is one simple body practice that can help you to feel more grounded and project more confidence into your audience. That is the expansive posture. Social psychologist Amy Cuddy showed us something remarkable. If you take an expansive posture, chest open, shoulders back, and arms wide open, you can actually shift how you feel in that moment. Testosterone rises and cortisol drops. You feel more confident, more assertive, and more comfortable. Feel it. So before your next hesitant moment, step into a private space and hold this expansive posture for 2 minutes. Confidence is not something you wait to feel. It is something you can physically create. Coming next, our pro number 5, the 60-second recovery strategy. For most speakers, the hardest moment is often the very beginning. Step into the stage, everyone looks at you. Your heart beats faster and your mind starts racing. But what if you can get through the very first 60 seconds? Your body usually starts to settle, and the rest will become much easier. And so, what do you do in that very first critical period of time, the very first 60 seconds? Here, I'll recommend the BGC protocol for you. Let's look at all together. The first, breath. Before your first word, take one deep, deliberate breath, which is to double your exhale time than your inhale time. Let me tell you why. It is because it is the exhale that brings your cortisol to the minimum level. So let's try it all together. Everybody, inhale, 1, 2, 3. And exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Excellent. That is how we physically bring down our cortisol level and tell our nervous system we are safe. Coming next, ground. So feel your feet on the floor and press them down. That is how we ground our body instead of letting the nervous system to take control. The last one, connect. In those very first few minutes or seconds, do me a favor. Find a few friendly faces in the audience, look at them one at a time. Don't try to speak to the whole room all at once. Start by speaking to just 3 friendly faces at the very beginning. And the encouragement that you get from those faces will give you calm and confidence. So 60-second, breathe, ground, and connect. That is all it takes to move through the spec and find your own flow. Pearl number 6, strategic vulnerability. Before we can build an idea into someone else's mind, we need their permission. We need them to open up their mind. And the most powerful way is usually open yours first. Remember what we did at the beginning of this conversation? Anyone? Oh my God, you question, yes. Remember we both, asked the audience, we both shared a small, vulnerable truth about speaking anxiety, confession, exactly. That is how we both start to open up, showing empathy, exactly. I saw this same principle in action during a Leadership Cafe first chat with Derek, our vice president at Engine organization, and his brother. The session was about earn the yes, build a business case that cannot be denied. They could have walked in and share some polished success stories, and they could have walked in to talk about influence leadership lessons from the mountaintop. But both of them shared the no's they received early in their careers. They talked about the rejections, the moments that the things didn't go as they wish. And they talked about what they had to rethink, relearn, rebuild, and realign. And you know what? The audiences immediately connected with them because they were not just hearing from the leadership advices from the mountaintop, they are hearing an authentic, real-world story. And as the audiences reflected, I appreciate how transparent and down-to-earth both Derek and Dustin were. It's rare to hear executives talk openly about rejection and learning moments. Hearing 2 leaders speak with such honesty and vulnerability was incredibly powerful. So that is the power of vulnerability. Use it to connect. Today, we talked about 6 pearls. First, fear is fuel. Second, prepare until it's instinct. And third, give the voice a life it deserves. And fourth, the body can rewire your brain. Fifth, the 60-second recovery strategy, BGC protocol. And the 6th, strategic vulnerability. And now I'm curious, which pearl is your favorite? Or which one do you want to try in your next speech? Yeah, Jackson mentioned Brené Brown. Yes, exactly. Strategic vulnerability is popularized by Brené Brown. 60-second recovery, 4 and 5. First, 5, 60-second recovery. Prepare, BGC, 6, 4, 1, 4, 5. I love it. I appreciate to seeing your response here. And for you, if there is only one pearl that is helpful for you, for me, that is a mission fulfilled. Thank you so much, everybody. And public speaking is a journey that you and your audience take together with you as a tour guide. With the 6 pearls that you take away today, I know you can bring out the confidence that is already within you and guide your audience through a journey that no guest get lost. Thank you.
Thank you, Erin. Everyone, give her a round of applause for such a great talk and providing us with such insightful information around navigating anxiety to conquer public speaking. So we are almost at time, but we do have time for one question. So Erin, for
Mhm.
our Q&A, the question that we have for you today is, let's talk about that vulnerability that you mentioned in your last pearl. As you mentioned, vulnerability is about sharing stories, admitting nervousness, or being authentic in front of a group. So
Mhm.
how do you navigate that boundary between being vulnerable and open and sharing enough to connect with your audience while still protecting yourself emotionally, especially in a professional setting?
Mm, that is a great question. And I see it from two lenses. The first, from speaker's perspective. If the vulnerable story or moments is something we have moved through, then it is okay to share. But if not, don't share it yet with the public. Just only share it with your best friends or your partner. And the second lens I process it is from the audience perspective. Think about your purpose of your talk. If the vulnerable story, if it serves your audience, share it. If it is only serves your purpose to just process the information or the emotion, then maybe you just want to save it.
Well, thank you, Erin. I think that's so insightful, as we think about navigating that because that can be challenging. So again, thank you everyone. We are at the top of the hour. Before you go, we would love to get your feedback on this experience today. So I'm dropping in a quick survey. Please let us know your thoughts. Let us know what you loved about today's session, what you would like to see more of. We have a pipeline of additional sessions coming up over the next few months. So make sure you've joined the Leadership Cafe Gather group to stay tuned to what's coming next. Thank you, everyone.